Junaid, can you hear me?
Yes, Neelam, I can hear you
Yeah,
very
okay.
well.
Because, yeah, great.
Should we get going?
We can actually start. I couldn't see network on my phone, that's why I got a bit scared. But okay, all right. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the second chapter of our webinar series, where we talk about AI, we debunk myths about AI, and encourage all of you to learn AI. So, to give a brief recap of to our audience what we have done in the previous chapter, we talked about what AI is, the definition, the history, the impact, the importance, and the need to keep up with this technological reformation. And we also talked about how it is impacting the traditional jobs and the new roles it's creating. We also talked about how CQAI can play a role in this trillion-dollar industry. But now the question remains that how do we go ahead with it? How do we learn AI? Who is it for? And to answer those questions, today you have Junaid Akhtar with us. Junaid is also the CTO of CQAI. Junaid has done his master's in physics from AMU in India and the second master's from University of Bonn under the prestigious scholarship program called Bonn Cologne Graduate Scholarship Program. And currently, he is working as an AI researcher in Paderborn. And let me also quickly introduce myself. I am Neelam Firdos Khan. I'm the operations head at CQAI. And I'm also a meteorology student at University of Cologne, Germany. I'm doing my master's currently, and I also have my bachelor's in physics from St. Stephen's College. So without any further ado, let's get into this daunting question of who can learn AI. And let's see that how far we can go today to debunk this myth of who all cannot do AI. That's what we think, right? So we have three myths here that it's only for geniuses with advanced degrees, and you need to have a strong background in maths and computer science. And the third one is that it has to be heavy on your pocket to learn AI. And on that note, I would like to ask Junaid, since he is a researcher in AI and he has quite some experience in teaching people now, what all have you come across? Because I'm sure that you keep getting these questions that who can do AI and how can we get into it? And what are the questions that people ask which completely sound untrue to you?
Yeah, thank you, Neelam. Thank you for the nice introduction and opening the session. Yeah, definitely. So these are the questions which I get asked frequently, especially from our Kashmiri audience. And that's the reason we, call them myths, because most of these questions sound to me that there are some notions or um, some myths which people have put in their mind, or maybe it's from the education system which they are in, maybe it's from the media, or maybe it's just their personal insecurities, or there could be, n number of reasons for that. And me myself, when I was doing my master's in physics, as you said, in AMU, I never paid attention to programming because I thought it's not my cup of tea, and I'm doing physics, so why should I learn programming? But later on, I realized that it's actually very important, not only for my research, but in general for my overall critical thinking, developing logical, thinking, because programming at the end of the day is logic. So I do get a lot of questions from our younger audience. Like just today, we were having a conversation with a couple of really young, energetic people. And the first one, myth, as you have put here, is that people assume that this artificial intelligence, or all these, let's say, buzzwords which are out there in the market, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. When they hear these words, they think, okay, it's not my cup of tea. It's not for me. It's something very deep. It's something very involved. It's something which I cannot do. Um, so I think there are multiple reasons for that. One is, we have kind of um, accepted it in the past few decades that science is not our thing, it's a white guy's thing. It all sounds foreign to us, and these are English terms, right? Do we have a term in Urdu for artificial intelligence or Kashmiri? I don't think so, right? So it all sounds foreign to
Yeah.
us. So when students hear these words, they think that it's not for them. The good news is it's not for you don't there's no requirement, so to say, that one has to be a genius or one has to have a really advanced degree, has to be PhD in something, only then they can learn AI. In fact, if you look at the current landscape, a lot of AI researchers are very young, and they start very young. They are in their school, they start learning coding, and when they are in their 11th and 12th, they have already developed some nice AI projects. So, which automatically debunks this myth, right? That you need to have an advanced degree. Another myth which is out there, which people ask me is, well, how many, I want to become an AI scientist, so maybe I should first do a bachelor in artificial intelligence, and then I should do a master in artificial intelligence, and then maybe a PhD. Only then I can become an AI scientist or, AI engineer or whatever they want to become. This is another myth which is completely untrue. You can come to AI from different ways. So I myself was from physics background. Neelam herself has physics background, but is doing meteorology. And it doesn't require you to have first read tons of mathematics and computer science background and then dive into AI. You can right away jump into AI. All you need is, we will talk about it in upcoming slides. We'll give you a roadmap how you can step by step become an AI scientist without doing a lot of, without wondering a lot, without getting lost, because there's a lot out there on internet and it's like a jungle. It's difficult to figure out your way. And then people also think it's very expensive, which it's really not, right? These days you have MIT at your homes. Earlier, back in the days, you had to really write a lot of exams to go to MIT, for example. But now MIT is on YouTube. So the resources are all over in the place online. And all you need is good mentorship, and you need to get started. And that's all which is needed. And you need to have passion. There's nothing as such of being a genius or having a mathematics background, which is required absolutely in order to get started.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely correct, especially for the last part, that once you get the initial mentorship from someone, after that you can continue your journey, and then you can actually have MIT at home and do it without any supervision and guide yourself accordingly. And now we wanted to talk about facts that Janath has already talked about, that it's accessible to everybody regardless of age, background, or any kind of prior knowledge. And it's available everywhere. It's free. It's also, of course, you can also pay for it, but then you can also get it at a reasonable level. And you can have a lot of courses online, a lot of tutorials. You can join a lot of communities, since it is the thing of this era, and you can avoid it anywhere. But then we also want to show you that what could be one of the best ways, one of the best roadmaps to execute and it started for yourself at whatever level you are at the moment, whether you're a beginner or you're intermediate or at an advanced level. So let's talk a bit about that now.
Yeah. Before getting into this, so this is a nice roadmap which we created to make it easier for you. Neelam emphasized on that AI programs are already out there. I want to mention something about technology in general, not only about artificial intelligence. There is something very special about technology or knowledge in general, which is the democratic nature of knowledge, right? Whether you are living in Kashmir or in Yemen or in United States or in China or in Russia, you have access to this knowledge, you have access to the software, you have access to it via internet. There are many projects which are available online, which you can just copy and paste in your laptop and start working on them. So this is one of the amazing things which has happened, with this technological revolution and internet, that back in the days, if you needed a journal, you needed something, let's say even a special book, you needed to go somewhere and get this book, right? It used to be a lot of hustle, but now it's absolutely democratic. You can learn it right there in Kashmir, right around when you are in around Gantagar, you can learn this technology and work on AI projects right from there. And here we want to give you like a bird's eye view of a roadmap how you can learn actually AI. So this is for people who are seriously interested in learning AI and they don't know how to do it. So there are four main steps, I would say, if you really want to learn AI. The first thing is, AI is artificial intelligence, which means intelligence on computers, essentially. So you need to learn how to talk to a computer, right? In order to make a computer smart, you first need to talk to it, like give it some instructions. How do you give some instructions is using a programming language. For example, here we have mentioned Python programming because it's one of the most common programming languages these days. And in artificial intelligence, it's heavily used. So once you have learned that you have learned how to talk to a computer, what you can do the next step is that you take some data. So all this artificial intelligence or machine learning, which I mentioned here as a third step, in order to make machines smart, you need to first give it some data. Okay, you need to train it somehow to become smart. So then the second step would be to understand the data, to understand the insights from data. For example, you have data from your friends or a company you're working on, or from your school, data about, let's say, the grades of people in a school. So which are the best performing classes, which are the best performing genders, what is the age of people who are having best scores or least scores, what is their financial background, are they coming from poor families, are they coming from rich families. So every data which is out there, it can give you some insights about the maybe finances of people, which factors are playing role if they are going to do good in the exam or bad in the exam. Okay, so this would be the next step, that one needs to understand insights inside the data. Okay, once you do that, you are ready to create models, machine learning models. So you can go beyond from just understanding the data. Let's say a company gives you a data, a phone company, like let's say we had this phone company in Kashmir called Airtel, right? Or Aircell or BSNL. We have a lot of companies, and they have data from their customers. So what this company can do is they can hire you as a data scientist or artificial intelligence expert, and they give you all this data from their customers, and they tell you, okay, what should we do? What strategy should we implement so that we have more customers? Then understanding the pattern of the people, how they are spending money, who they are calling, or how much time do they spend on phone call, do they use more internet, do they use less internet, you can tell them you have to create this kind of ad so that more and more people join you. You might have noticed it already, that you get Facebook ads, you get Google ads and all that. So that's basically these companies trying to understand you from data. And then once you have learned the basics of machine learning, you are ready to dive into projects. So you can work on as an intern at a company and work on some industry level projects where you can get real experience. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is solve a business problem. You want to work in an industry, you want to get a job, or maybe you want to create your own AI startup, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to apply AI to agriculture, AI to healthcare. There are so many things which you can do with artificial intelligence, but one has to do it step by step. You have to start first learning programming, understand the data, and then learn how to train models, how to make these machines smarter, and finally do some industry grade projects. So this is, I would say, one can summarize. There are details, finer details, which we can explain later, but this is kind of the overall picture of how one can get started in learning artificial intelligence.
Yeah, thank you so much, Junaid. There was a question on our live that how do we use AI on our daily basis, but I think you already answered that question while going through the roadmap. And I wanted to add one more point to this roadmap, which I find very interesting, because not only you can be right at the beginning, but you can be at any other point as well. For example, you understand the basic Python programming, but you want to learn machine learning, for example. And then at that point, you don't have to think that, okay, which direction do I go to? I know a bit, but I want to go ahead. You can start right then and there. You can join a course, you can learn, and then continue to the industry grade projects. Or if you are at the level of understanding the data, you can still learn and then go towards doing more projects. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a very important point, Neelam, because sometimes people get this impression that they have to go through the whole pipeline and only
Mhm.
then they can start working as a data scientist. So there are different roles in this, I would say, paradigm. So you can be a data analyst, you can be a data scientist, you can be a artificial intelligence engineer. There are so many roles which fit in, at different in the spectrum. You don't have to complete the whole pipeline. I myself, for example, when I was doing my master thesis, I started learning basic programming, Python programming, and
Mhm.
knowing a bit of a Python programming together with beginner level artificial intelligence helped me to do my master's project already. So I didn't know to go through, all the artificial intelligence which is out there because it's really a lot.
Yes.
Similarly, I think, Neelam, it's the case with you. As far as I know, you also did your master's thesis recently, and you have also used programming, right, in your thesis?
Yes, I have extensively used Python programming for data analysis. I have analyzed a lot of data for a certain project which was related to the contrail formation in the mid latitudes. I can elaborate on that some other day or maybe later in the talk. So the thing was that what I understand that if you want to learn coding, you need a project. You need some level of accountability so that you keep practicing, because it's not only about watching a YouTube video. So all of us can understand. We have a logical reasoning and we can understand a code very easily. But what after? Unless you know that you are submitting a homework to your tutor, or you are presenting this to your supervisor, certain graph or certain analysis, so which means you are also practicing through your programming, it won't be enough. So that is why I believe that if you want to learn programming in general, if we're talking about the first step or any other step in this pipeline, the accountability in terms of doing a project or being in a certain job is important, so that you stay in practice. That is why I believe that in case you want to do a course with someone, that would be an online training that's helpful, because you keep getting homeworks, and then that will keep you in practice. Or if you're doing projects with someone, that will keep you in practice. For example, I did my first course of Python with CQAI in the first cohort. And until then, I was completely scared of the idea of Python, to be honest. I had to do programming in bachelor's, not only Python, I also had C++, Fortran. But then it was not very clear how it's going on. I think a lot of people could easily pick it up, but at that time, I could not pick it up easily until I joined CQAI. I started learning with them from the first cohort. So I got an idea. So once I joined the course, I got an idea that, okay, this is how I have to go on. I had this accountability before my tutors that I have to do my homework. So I stayed in practice. And after that, I got my student assistant job in the research center. And then I was again in the practice of doing it. I had to show my graphs to someone. So I was continuously doing coding. And it's been a year I've been continuously in coding. And I believe that I'm already walking towards the third step. And now I don't know machine learning completely, right? But I know the uses of machine learning and how it's important for my studies in future, because I want to implement machine learning. In meteorology, a lot of AI, ML is being used for forecasting. It's super important, especially also for the topic that I'm doing. And now I cannot stop there. So there I will again start doing a course with CQAI on machine learning, and then I can continue on my own, right? So this is the kind of understanding I have about filling these gaps, because in colleges and schools we haven't been taught, and maybe they don't have the time to teach you. For example, if I'm in this research center and I need to work on this topic, they're not going to stop and teach me machine learning separately and then let me continue my research. So meanwhile, I can fill this gap by probably working, studying with CQAI, doing this machine learning course. And then with the kind of projects I do with CQAI or with my research center, I can go ahead. So this is what I, this is how I totally understand that how initially being supervised in these three, on these four, at these 4 points of this pipeline is so important. And yeah, I believe that, I've had a journey so far, and I know that I have a new journey now with machine learning coming up, which is again exciting. But the most important thing is to get started. Sometimes I feel that if I could do it, anyone could do it, because it was somehow too daunting and it was not supposed to be like that. Sometimes you need people to tell you to get out. Maybe a YouTube video would not help you to tell you that, okay, it's easy. Sometimes you need tutors, maybe your teachers or your tutors to tell you that it's completely okay to do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think very important in general because as I was mentioning, there is already a lot of content out there.
Yes.
So the question people should ask is, if there is already content out there, as we were saying, you don't need to go to MIT now. MIT is at your home, or there is so many videos about programming, about artificial intelligence. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. So I want to ask this question to people. Maybe they can write it in the chat. Why do you still think that these courses are not helping people to become what they want to become? Or what is lacking in these courses? And actually, I think Neelam already put the slide here, so we have the spoiler. So on the one hand, you see on the left-hand side, so we have the artificial intelligence in the middle, right? This is our target. And on the left-hand side, we are showing that it will make you powerful. So AI is the future, as simple as that. So whether you are doing a job, whether you are a teacher, whether you are doing, any simple task. So artificial intelligence will play a role, and it is better if you start integrating artificial intelligence in already what you are doing, or learn it, or become an artificial intelligence expert itself. So on the one hand, it's going to make you powerful, and a lot of people want to learn it. But what is the challenge? What is the real challenge? Why are people not able to become AI scientists? For example, I can very confidently say that if you do a survey in Kashmir, I'm not sure if you can find 50 artificial intelligence scientists. I'm not entirely confident. Good AI scientists. While as you can find, thousands of doctors, you can find thousands of other engineers, you can find a lot of people who are in very diverse professions. You can find a lot of musicians, right? Every day there are so many new songs from our artists on YouTube. However, even though everything is free or things are available on internet, people are not able to learn it because of the reasons which we are mentioning on the right hand side. So a lot of resources out there, they're confusing. It's like a jungle, and there's nobody to tell you what you need to watch and what you don't need to watch. And imagine watching these 1 hour, 2 hour videos every day, and not getting anything out of them, or you don't know which video do you have to watch depending on the level you have and depending on the level at which they are talking in the video, right? So in some sense, there is no personalized training. The content which is created is a very general content for everyone, while as it has been well observed that humans learn if they have this personalized training. If you understand the background of the person one to one, so you have to be with your mentor who can guide you, who can understand what is your math background, what is your physics background, what is your whatever you have studied, and then accordingly that person will teach you. The journey becomes much more easier. Another thing is, let's say even if you want to get started and you start some basic tutorial on YouTube, which I would recommend you should do. I also have done it. However, there is no support system. The best option for you to ask questions would be to comment on the YouTube. For example, some people are commenting right now. But it's up to the person when he or she will get back to your question, and maybe you are not satisfied with their answer. So there will be never a conversation. And it's usually during conversations that new ideas pop up. You have a new idea. You could have a entirely new idea out of which you could make a startup. But that is only possible if you are talking to someone one to one, if you are having a discussion, which is completely missing in these, online trainings. Another point which we have mentioned here is the second point, which is very important. So this is for the younger audience. please be aware of fake gurus on internet. There are a lot of people on YouTube who present themselves as artificial intelligence experts, but they are not. They have some programming, they have some skills, but they don't have an understanding of how artificial intelligence works and how one should learn it. So recently there has been a lot of tendency of people selling expensive courses, expensive trainings, selling dreams to people, but then there's a huge possibility of getting scammed. So please keep this in mind when you are trying to register for any course online and paying a lot of money. Yeah, and finally, I would like to say the last point is about teaching is not equal to industry experience. What I mean by this? So I mean that if you have a professor teaching you artificial intelligence, right? That professor will teach you in a way so that you can pass the exam. It's about qualifying the exam, right? You understand some stuff, then you have to write an exam. Maybe you have to write pen and paper based or do some assignments. But that's not how you get a job at industry. In industry, you have to solve business problems. So what you have to do is, as I was explaining earlier, the company will give you data. Airtel will come and give you all the data of customers, and you have to make a strategy for Airtel, how they should target their customers and which kind of advertisements they should give to their customers. This a professor will not be able to do because they have never solved the business problem. So you have to be also careful who you are learning it from. Do they have some industry experience? Can they offer you projects which are of industry grade? So these are some of the challenges. There are more, but these are some of the challenges which we could summarize, and maybe you are able to relate to them. And if you have any questions regarding them, you can write to us or also type it in the chat.
No, thank you, Janet. So, if I put it in a simple way, for example, yeah, you just gave us a very good overmap of how we should go about it and what kind of challenges are there and what we should be aware of what is on the internet, because the information is a bit scattered, even if it's a lot, but it's still overwhelming. And if a person comes to you and tells you that, okay, I want to do AI, like, is there a platform, do we offer something as the AI guidance or AI counseling to people that, okay, this is for you and this is not for you? Do you think that would be helpful for the audience to make a clear?
Yeah, definitely. So as I was saying, the trainings which are out there, I also see a question in the chat. How are your courses different from what Udemy and Coursera are
Yes.
offering? So this is also a relevant question.
Mhm.
So the trainings which are out there from these whatever websites they are for general audience. They don't take into account of what you know already. For example, if somebody comes to CQI and they already know Python programming to a certain level, if we figure out, okay, this person already knows basics of Python, he knows, he has done a small project, I will not put him in our entry level training. I will not waste his time with entry level training. We'll put him on an internship, or we'll put him in the next training where he will learn the stuff that he is supposed to learn and not repeat the stuff which he or she has already learned. Or somebody is a person who has a background in literature and they want to now learn artificial intelligence. So then, of course, I know that this person has never seen a matrix, for example. This person doesn't know computers at all compared to a physics guy or a math guy who knows some equations. They have some sort of affiliation with math, I would say. So then there we have to find a different model for that person and teach them accordingly, put them in a team where they get extra attention so that they can. So this is the problem. People get this wrong impression when they go out there and they are joining a course online, let's say 500 people, and you see that some people are doing very good in this course, and some people are doing really bad. People who are doing bad think that it's because they are not intelligent, they are dumb, something like that, which is actually scary and shouldn't be perceived this way, because you never knew what was the background of the people who did good. Maybe they were from already a math, computer science background, so it was easy for them to understand, and you are from literature, so you need some extra attention or guidance so that your journey becomes smooth, and then you can learn AI. And once you reach a certain level, there's a threshold, as Neelam was also explaining. You reach a certain level, then you don't need basically anyone. You can just go ahead and start doing AI on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have this one question that I keep getting all the time in my DMs, that will I get a job after this course, if I do this course? And which is, of course, nobody can promise you a job after this, but how would you still explain the value of doing a training like this and still not immediately expecting a course, immediately expecting a job by the end? So this is one of the biggest questions we have. What do you have to
Yeah,
say about it?
yeah, definitely. So let's break it down. So, um, getting a job, right? So where do you want to get a job? You want to get a job in an industry. So you have to see what is the industry demand.
Mhm.
Well, what do they need what do they demand from their employees? What do they demand from you as a data analyst or a data scientist? Do they demand that you should just know basic Python, like writing few lines of Python code? No. Let's be honest about that. Even ChatGPT can do this right now, right? So what they demand is they demand from you a certain level of understanding, not only about programming, but about the subject in general. You should be understanding how to get insights from the data. And that's what we exactly teach in our first entry level training, which is data analytics with Python. And we have already had enough examples from our cohorts who finished this training and then they got a job. Why did they get a job? Because they worked hard and they did a couple of projects which were really meaningful. We have one student who we also mentioned last time, for example, Ahmed. He's in NIT doing his first year bachelor. And during his first year bachelor, because he was training with us, he qualified an interview and was offered a job. But of course, he did not join because he first wants to complete his bachelor. So absolutely, yes, you could get a job after just finishing the first module, and the job you would get is maybe as a data analyst or a developer. However, the more you invest in learning, this is the most important thing. You have to invest in learning. The more you invest in learning, the your value rises in industry, because the more you are able to contribute, and the company values you. Keep in mind that companies value talent, right?
Mhm.
So you have to keep learning new things, and artificial intelligence is very disruptive. It changes every day. For example, somebody is commenting right now that Elon Musk says that all AI will eliminate all jobs. So this news, I think I saw this also in Rising Kashmir today. And so these news keep coming up, because every day there is a new AI coming, and people are like, they have to really keep themselves updated. Yeah, long story short, yes, you could get a job depending on how good you perform.
Yeah, that's a very good answer, I would say. And I would like to add to that, that even in your existing jobs, you want to improve them, you want to make them better, because even if you're a scientist, you are working in a lab, you need to know how to code so that you can visualize what you have made, right? And I was recently talking to a scientist in my research center, and she told me that how dangerous it is that students don't know how to code, because you need to know what you're doing after, even if you're doing an experiment, or if, for example, I'm a meteorologist, I have to understand the science of the atmosphere, but I cannot understand a bit unless I put my data into a code and I visualize it, I see a couple of graphs. Until then, it's completely useless. So it's not only about getting new jobs, it's also about implementing coding, and of course, as you go higher, the machine learning and AI into your existing jobs and make them better for you and make them easier for you, because that's technically that's the need of AI, to make it easier for us, right? So if you implement it in your existing traditional jobs, it's also going to help. So yeah, the end of it is also, the question to ask is not only that, will I get a job after this? You can also ask your question that, will it improve my existing job, right? So
Definitely.
that's also, I would say, one
Yeah.
outlook towards it.
Exactly. Imagine you are like five people working in the same company, and you all are managing some Excel sheets from the company
Mhm.
where there is data. And now one of you decided to go ahead and learn programming and automate this process. So you will not use Excel sheets anymore. You will use Python now, Python programming, and you automate all your work. Your manager will be amazed by you. He'll be
Mm.
like, okay, this guy doesn't fit in here. He or she is supposed to do more creative work, so you will get a promotion definitely.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is a very good point that AI not only learning programming and artificial intelligence is not only about getting new jobs, it's also about enhancing your current jobs and integrating artificial intelligence. So the
Yeah.
question here, which somebody is asking, Elon Musk said that people will lose a lot of jobs. Yeah, that's true. There's no doubt in that. A lot of jobs are going to be thrown out of the window because they are repetitive. For example, a cashier in a supermarket, it's a repetitive job. You can automate it a lot more, but more jobs will be created. You know, last time Murtaza also gave this number, the amount of jobs which will be lost, actually more jobs will be created because more and more people will start using artificial intelligence, and we need to know how this operates. So there is still human intervention in artificial intelligence. You have to operate it, you have to create better models. The models we have, if you look at ChatGPT, people are so amazed and scared by it, but you have to understand that that has like a trillions of parameters inside it. So it's a really huge model which people have created. And what scientists are trying to do now is how to make it smaller, and efficient so that it's also energy efficient because right now it consumes a lot of energy. So there is a lot to improve in AI itself, which you can only do when you understand it. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
jobs will be gone, but there will be more jobs created. And if you know AI, you are not going anywhere.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's one question about one person is asking that what are the basic foundational concepts in mathematics and science that we should know before getting started? Can you just put it in a very brief manner?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, I would say if you are able to speak any language, be Kashmiri, Urdu, English, whatever, I think you can learn programming. You can get started because programming is, it's a set of logical statements, and language is kind of the same. Programming language is a language how you talk to a computer, and we already talk to each other. We are able to convey our message to the other person. So I would say I personally put this as a requirement if somebody wants to learn program, nothing else. They don't have to know math, they don't have to know physics, no science. However, if you want to learn artificial intelligence, as you go ahead, what you have to maybe learn about is, for example, numbers. You have to learn maybe about matrices. What is a matrix? How to multiply two matrices, let's say. It's very simple. I can teach you it in 5 minutes. So there are some basic concepts. Later on, you can maybe look into probability a little bit. That also becomes important. Maybe a little bit of now, what is a sine function? What is a cos function? Stuff like this. So everything which you learn by your 10th or 12th grade, that's all which is needed to get started. Nothing more than that. And even if you don't know it, but you are interested, you can be taught while you are learning. So you don't need to, I don't like this approach, which people take that first I need to finish a book, then I will start with the project. You can already get started and learn along the way.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Junaid. And on that note, I mean, the people in the audience, or if you know others who are interested in it but are a bit intimidated, just come to us, approach us, so that we know what new models, as Junaid was saying, we need to create for people, right? Maybe people who are from non-science background, they still want to learn. We can create a separate model for them, separate class for them, so that we can teach them some foundational things, and then they can carry on from there. So I think, yeah, you need to approach us. That's the basic. I would say right now that is the most important point, is to reach out, and then the people who are experts can guide you accordingly. And Junaid, do you want to address another question which is related to dentistry, that how AI can help in dentistry? I believe that it was already discussed in the previous session, that how it has an impact, AI has an impact on the medical field, but do you think you
Yeah.
want to
I
quickly
mean, yeah, so okay. How I think, I go to dentist, I don't know, once in 2 years.
answer?
I went I went last year, I had to do a root canal procedure. But let me tell you my perspective, which I think obviously where artificial intelligence will come into play. One is radiology in general. So when you go to a dentist, you have a problem in your teeth, they will take x-rays, right? And then the dentist has to look into the x-ray and figure out the problem. By now, with the help of computer vision, which is like a subcategory in artificial intelligence, AI has become very, very good at identifying problems or in general, identifying pictures. You could already see it, for example, from Facebook, from Google Photos, from your Photos app in your iPhone, that AI is automatically able to categorize people, or face lock, for example, in your phone, right? So AI has become very good at recognizing pictures. It's not just about faces, it's about pictures in general. Or, facial recognition systems at, let's say, when you are traveling from one country to another country, you have to do immigration and stuff, and they try to recognize your face. And what I'm imagining will happen very soon, or maybe it's already happening, is that when you take an X-ray or whatever of your teeth, it automatically gets fed to an AI model, and it automatically diagnoses what's exactly wrong with this tooth. The doctor doesn't have to see this.
Mhm.
So I would say some sort of doctors who are experts in looking at at X-ray pictures are kind of not eliminated, but they would have to integrate artificial intelligence in their work. And then second, it's very tricky to do surgeries in tooth because it's a very constrained space, mouth, and then you have to do a surgery. And recently, there is a lot of research going on how to do very precise surgery using artificial intelligence. Okay, so this is another field, for example, where AI can come and it can complement doctors, or it can maybe automatically do some surgery itself. Another field is you need to sometimes predict from the composition of people's mouth. You can predict what kind of bacteria they have, what is causing them problems. So you can train models, artificial intelligence models, to an extent that they become experts in diagnosis. So diagnosis is really something on which there is a lot of research going on. In fact, next week we are going to bring a researcher from Germany, from Munich. His name is Ivan Kukulian. He will be talking about medicine and artificial intelligence. So do join that one, and you can ask him detailed questions. He's working on cancer research and artificial intelligence, but I think these are some of the areas where AI will play a role in dentistry.
Thank you. Yeah, there was another question about what we offer in ML training, but I think we can talk ahead about it. Excuse me for that. Yeah. But
Yeah,
first,
sure.
I'd like to
So
talk about what is the pathway of learning for AI beginners? How would you talk about it?
yeah, sure. So this is like a general picture of what is included in our packages of training. So we are not just, it's not going to be just me or Neelam who's going to training you. There is going to be three teams. One is from an instructor team, which going to be at least 4 or 5 instructors, both from Kashmir and abroad and the rest of the India. And they're going to come together and train you. Then we have a separate team for tutors. So what this means is the instructors, after they give a session, they will give you a worksheet, and you will have to work on that worksheet. And together with tutors, if you have problems, you can ask them. They will also help you through the assignment sheet. And once in a while, they will do live coding sessions with you so that they push you a little bit to code yourself, because sometimes people get lazy. And then you have support team who will help you with any kind of questions you have. And the most important aspect of the trainings is mini projects, which is once you learn a few concepts, we will give you a project. We'll not wait until the end of the course. We will give you a project and ask you to think about it and how you can solve it with the concepts that you have already learned. And this will be under guided supervision, which means that you will be working with one of the instructors or one of the tutors. And whenever you have a problem, you can text them on Discord. So Discord is our primary communication means. You can text them or set up a meeting and resolve your queries. And as we already talked about, we will have personalized trainings where you will have one-to-one interaction with the tutors and instructors. I think this is the most important aspect that we are offering, and which is completely lacking in online trainings. And another important aspect is you need to have very good communication skills. So apart from being very good at technical stuff, being a tech guy, you need to be able to communicate, which we have seen unfortunately is lacking, especially within the Kashmiri community. I have to say, for example, people approach us for jobs, and all they do is they drop a CV or they say hi. They don't even write a formal email like how to apply for a job. Or if you want to present your studies, let's say we take the same example. The company comes to you and asks you, gives you the data of customers and asks you, make a strategy for us. What should we do? What advertisements should we do in Kashmir so that we get more registrations on our SIM card? You have to present these studies to the company officials, right? To the CEO of the company. And that's only possible if you have good presentation skills, if you know how to create a good presentation, and if you have enough practice of dealing with uncomfortable situations which arise during presentation, right? And this we will prepare you via mock presentation. So every 2 weeks, we have mock presentations in our general meetings at CQAI. And also during our trainings, there will be a lot of presentations from students who train with us so that they become really confident. And then it won't matter. Like you ask them all of a sudden, hey, can you get up and talk about this topic? They will get up and they will create a story around it and present you the results. They don't need they will not be scared. This stage fear is also which we want to get rid of from many people. Yeah, so that's I think the package that we offer at CQA. But again, you don't have to join only trainings with CQA. This is not we are talking about CQI here because this whole initiative is coming from the company, and we want you to train with us because we believe we have the best training strategy for people. We have tested it over the years, and we have very good results. But even if you want to learn by yourself and you need help, you can contact us, and we will be surely ready to help you.
Yeah, and now also I wanted to mention one more question there, Junaid, that a lot of people ask about certificates by the end of our trainings. And we do not offer certificates, but we offer everything that you have done in GitHub. So you can present your GitHub projects to people. But would you like to elaborate on that a bit, that how certificate is not going to be useful anymore, but whatever you have done, all the practical stuff is in your GitHub. So would you like to?
Definitely. So somebody was brought up Elon Musk in the chat. And Elon Musk doesn't care about your certificates. He cares about what projects you have done and the work you have done. If it was about certificates, I would highly recommend, because we are talking about artificial intelligence and data science, I would highly recommend you go and check from the data from Government of Kashmir, how many people have done degrees. They have certificates from the best institutes. Just yesterday, I don't know if somebody has a link. Could you please put it in the chat? Maybe Murtaza can do it. 34% of IIT Bombay, okay, people were not placed. They didn't get a job after finishing their degree. So imagine how much effort people put to get into an IIT, right? They do coachings, they drop 2 years, 3 years finally to get into an IIT and a prestigious institute like IIT Bombay. And imagine they finish their degree in 4 or 5 years and then they don't even get placed. They don't even have a job. Do they not have a certificate? They have a certificate from one of the most reputed institutes in the country. Why are they not getting the job? Because they are not relevant. They haven't learned the skills. There's nothing to show on their GitHub project. There's nothing to talk about when they talk to the interview guy. But we at CQI we will provide you certificates if you need from Chinar Quantum AI. We can also help you in getting certificates from online platforms. If it matters for you that you have to show to your boss a certificate from Coursera, Udemy, whatever it is, our team, when you join our training, they will assist you and help you in getting that certificate. So that's like a piece of cake for us. That's the least we could do for you. What we actually want to do for you is to train you. We want to train you to a level that when a person visits your GitHub profile, when a person looks at your CV, it's like, okay, this is the person I want in my company, and it won't even matter if you have certificates or not. Yeah, it has become, right, by now, people have understood that certificates are not that important.
Yeah, Yes, so you wanted to talk about AI for students and young learners. That how do you suggest that what should students probably in their school, how should they go about it?
I think they should start learning basic programming, let's say Python language, and then they should try to relate it to their existing studies. So without taking a big jump and jumping into AI right away, they should learn basic programming, and then they should, for example, see how it's relevant. How can they use programming to understand the math, which they are doing right now? How can they use programming to understand a physics problem? And there are there are also a lot of examples about it on the internet. And once they gain certain expertise in it, I think then they can slowly move to learning AI and deep down.
Now we'll talk about what we can do for professionals and who want to do a change in their career.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have already shed some light on this.
Yeah.
Even if you're a professional working in an industry or even in academia, you need to keep upgrading yourself to stay relevant, right? And for that, if you know AI, it's gonna be the best thing that's gonna add to your toolkit. And there are, of course, online courses, as we have been talking about, from Udemy, Coursera, and etc., etc. However, as we have been mentioning, there is no personalized training, and often people lose motivation in the middle of the course to continue with them. And some of these courses have been created 2 years ago. For example, if you have a Python programming course or a data science course, which is 2 years ago, I believe it's not relevant these days so much, because we are living in post-GPT era. We have now Chat GPT, and it has changed the entire story, right? So, but for professionals, let's say, who already know programming, so what they can do is they can start an internship and work on a new project where they will add to their skills and get upgraded.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
basic point is about being in practice and learning. I think that's the ultimate truth that I find in coding.
Yeah.
And there
I
was
agree.
another question from someone in our chat that sometimes ChatGPT gives them wrong answers. And why does
Yeah.
that happen?
That's exactly why you need to understand what is
Exactly.
artificial intelligence. If you
Yes.
just start using it, it can fool you.
Yeah,
There is
right.
something called hallucination, which happens with ChatGPT, or in general, ChatGPT is one of the large language models which exist out there. There are others. There is Gemini, for example, from Google. There is Llama. ChatGPT is only one of them. And it could give you wrong answers. And it started just a year ago, the whole story, but people are improving it a lot. So in the next iteration, it's called something like iterative learning. That's how machine learning works. In the first step, you are not that close to the right answer. In the second step, you get closer. In the third step, you get closer, closer, and closer, and the AI keeps becoming better and better and better. Okay. This is also going to happen with ChatGPT, but right now, yes, you should not take everything, seriously with ChatGPT gives you answers about. Sometimes it just creates trash. So you need to know. I use ChatGPT every day for my coding, for example, but I do a check. When I use it, I make a check if I am getting sensible results and if it's not nonsense.
Same here. I've also used ChatGPT a couple of times. It's useful, but you have to keep a check. In fact, you have to ask the question properly. Sometimes it can also misinterpret your question. And
Exactly.
yeah. And I'm not, yeah. So there's another interesting question in our chat is that what do you think are the implications of AI in the field of psychology? Because I believe that we have a very diverse audience right now and they want to know about different aspects, but I'm not sure, like, do you have any clue? It sounds very interesting that what could be the
Yeah.
direct impact on
Yeah,
psychology.
although I never learned psychology formally, but I do like to understand people, and I talk to people a lot, and I like to know how they think and what are their issues. Everybody has some issues in their life. So one obvious thing which I can see, which is not about AI, but just standard programming, also AI, which is about in psychology, if you are a researcher in psychology, let's say you're practicing, you're a clinical psychologist, so you have a lot of data from a person or data from people, or you want to do a study. What is the impact of joblessness in Kashmir, and how is it impacting the psychology of people? So you need to collect data from people. Only then you will be able to. It's not like, and you can take people to a lab, right? Psychology is it's social sciences. So you need to go inside the society, take data from people. Then the question is, what do you do with this data? You cannot just look at people's figures and try to make sense out of it. And that's where machine learning comes into play. So what you can do is you can feed this data to an artificial intelligence model, and it will be able to create these beautiful charts and explain to you what is going on, what is under the hood, what's the problem with people. So that's one, I think, obvious application. Another
And
is, yeah, Neelam.
yeah, I just wanted to add one point that most importantly, why ML becomes different there, because it can predict the the future behavior based on what we put there. Okay, if the job situation or any other political situation is going to be like this, how in maybe 10 years will our youth act, or how will our children grow up? I think that's also something that we would not get through normally putting it in Excel and getting pie charts or getting bar plots. It's beyond that. Now you can, so the forecasting is the beauty. That will help you to, do the damage control on time. So I think for the social science students, but I mean also the students who are studying psychology, it's a great tool already, right?
Yeah, definitely. Apart from the tool, if you look from the research side, I think even Elon Musk is doing research about this, neural link, which they want to connect to human brain. So you
Mhm.
can study human brain from a different perspective, right? You can study it physically, let's say in a lab, do experimentation, or you can take data from people, right? Like we discussed right now. So you took data from people, that's one way. Another way is you try to understand the human mind by extracting signals from it. And
Mhm.
how are those signals processed is again using artificial intelligence and different models which these AI companies have created. And there are even models these days like ChatGPT who try to understand emotions. So that their whole job is to react to human emotions, and which is also a bit scary, right? We have
Yep.
already seen people using a lot of phones and not talking to their friends, and now imagine you have a model which is understands you emotionally better than any of your friends. So you could be addicted to a model rather than people. So I think there is a lot of things. Psychology is also going to be very much affected by artificial intelligence.
Yes, I mean, there's always a downside of everything, including technology. It's all about balance in the end, that how we use the technology in the best way possible. And on that note, we have actually come to the end of the session. It was amazing to talk to you. We have attended to most of the questions in chat. And yes, there are also registration links in our chat. Please visit our website, do register for the courses you like. You can also write to us via email. We would be more than happy to answer your queries and attend to you in whatever way possible. But I would still like to open the platform for 3 more minutes for any more questions that are needed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we can wait for some time.
It could be any question. You don't have to
Yeah.
necessarily ask about AI. You can even ask any general question you have in your mind. Whatever is in your mind, you can ask.
At CQA, we like questions because we might
Yes,
not know answer of everything that keeps us going. So please,
exactly.
maybe a minute more, and then I think we can.
And you can close.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we will be back again.
sure. And please be tuned for the next chapter of our webinar series, web series.
Yeah. You're welcome to Phil. Phil is saying thank you.
Mhm. Okay, it seems like there are no more questions. But as I said, you can always ask. We're more than happy to help. And yeah, thank you so much to our wonderful audience. It has been great. It was quite interactive. I enjoyed it personally. I hope Junaid also enjoyed
Yeah,
the session.
I loved it. This
Yeah.
is the best part of my day.
Great. All right, then we take your leave and have a good evening, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.